We're continuing to follow breaking news on the Cranston Fire burning west of the valley. Up to the minute details and complete team coverage on fire containment, road closures, evacuations, air quality, and more.
I think people were leaving. They know not to fool with this fire.
Reaction from a woman who evacuated, now staying here in the Coachella Valley. What she's saying about the fire with her community tonight in danger.
Now, live from the desert's news leader, this is Breaking News.
Hello, I'm John White. Karen Devine is on assignment. We are following breaking news on the Cranston Fire in our local mountains. Here is the latest tonight. It's now burned 4,700 acres. It is 5% contained. Thousands of people are evacuated from Idyllwild and other nearby communities. At least 5 structures are destroyed. One man is now under arrest in connection with this fire. Power is out tonight in Idyllwild. More than 3,500 customers impacted by those power outages. Of course, most of them evacuated. We have complete team coverage for you, including First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen, who's tracking your conditions out there impacting this firefight. News Channel 3's Cody Krupp is in Idyllwild with evacuation coverage. He was in Banning earlier at an evacuation center. And we begin with News Channel 3's Jake Gracia. He's been on the fire line since early this afternoon. Jake.
Yeah, hey there. We saw really just the explosive nature of this fire today. Flames creeping over ridges, forcing us out of our live shot location multiple times during our coverage throughout the day. And residents today reacting to the news that a suspect for arson in connection with this fire has been arrested today. At about 12 noon, smoke seen billowing from the mountains. The fire quickly intensifying, exploding to hundreds of acres in just a matter of hours. Emergency crews rushing up the mountain. Air tankers and helicopters dropping water and fire retardant. The smoke billowing in. I was reporting from the side of the road, the smoke growing darker behind me, and then the fast-moving flames jumping the hills, heading our way. And take a look at that smoke just billowing out of the hills there. You can see active flames coming over the ridge. We're actually driving in the car now because it was no longer safe for us to stay. All right, so we found a safer spot here at the bottom of Highway 243. Aerial crews overhead dropping water. And that area where we just were up in the hills is now completely engulfed by smoke. We're seeing a thick black cloud coming over us, headed our way, making everything go dark. Residents in the area filling up gas in case of an evacuation order. A gas station employee keeping the pumps open.
The best we can do is make sure everyone that needs gas can get it before we have to close. Sheriffs are getting it, firefighters are getting it.
Trying to remain calm.
Seems like everyone's trying to keep a steady head, which is good. I mean, you need to keep calm in this kind of scenario.
Moments later, the fire coming too close for comfort. We are seeing actual active flames approaching our live shot, and I just want to let you guys know we may be in danger shortly. Hemet police taking an arson suspect, Brandon McGlover, into custody, handcuffing him. And at Lake Hemet Campground, a command post stationed. With no power or internet, residents there looking for information.
Looks like we will be potentially evacuated, so we're just kind of on alert status.
Some worried about their homes.
Waiting to see if and when I can get back in to see if I still have a house.
With a message to the arsonist accused of starting this fire.
If I could, and I'm not a violent person, I'd like to try to beat the fire out with him. There's just no place for an arsonist in this world.
And hoping for the best.
Just hoping that everyone gets out all right.
Now that suspect, Brandon McGlover, now in custody, taken in by Hemet police earlier today in connection with the Cranston Fire, being held on $1 million bail tonight. And as you heard there in the package, residents here in the area affected by this massive, rapidly spreading fire are not happy with that man tonight. Reporting live, Jake Gracia. And we're going to send it over now to Cody Krupp, who is live in Idyllwild, continuing our team coverage. Cody.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. I am here in downtown Idyllwild. We've been here about 2.5 hours, and to be honest, there's not really a lot going on, which I think is a very good thing. It's quiet. There's not a lot of wind, which I talked to some officials. They did say that because of the lack of wind and their prediction, it's very tough. It could change any minute, but as of right now, they are not so worried about the city of Idyllwild. But as I talk about not much going on, there has been a lot of this. It's local. It's a lot local. It could be all the way down to the valley. I saw Corona. We got first personnel, we got firefighters, police officers. That is just to name a few of these people that have come through here today. Also, a lady was even walking her dog, and another person keep an eye on her business because, of course, that's her baby. That's something that she's grown from the bottom up. Did not want to see it go. But I want to send it now to those people that their lives change within a minute. Bumper to bumper traffic coming down the mountain on Highway 243 to escape the Cranston fire.
I saw people getting pretty crazy. I mean, there was an accident already pretty much in town, and because people are getting freaked out. So I saw people crying already because, I mean, they probably have family members closer to the fire.
Making their way to Banning High School, one of the evacuation sites of the Cranston fire, with a surprise for many in charge.
We didn't know, obviously, until the emergency happened.
School buses and charter buses full of kids from mountain summer camps.
What we're doing is we're facilitating the reunification of parents with the campers, and we also have some residents that were evacuated that are also here.
A total of 500 at one point, and that was expected to get upwards of 700 by nightfall. But that number is dropping drastically into the nighttime hours.
It looks like one of our camping groups just recently got a bus out and they're on their way to the church.
And there was many groups that followed suit, whether it's being picked up by parents or finding new accommodations. Now just 100 campers and about 20 mountain evacuees expected to stay the night, which is much safer than the other option.
It's pretty scary. It was where we were, because we were close where our house was. When they let us in, said you got about 5 minutes, and then they went, you know what, no, you got 2. It just jumped another ridge, and they were nervous. When they got nervous, we got nervous. It's like, okay, yeah, we better hurry.
So local personnel, they are using this location, a safe spot. Right now, they're able to give these firefighters a break, able to interchange them. They're saying every 12 hours. Hey, that's a long shift, and they're going to be fighting into the night here from downtown Idyllwild. But reporting here, downtown Idyllwild, this is Cody Krupp.
Okay, thank you, Cody. Weather is hurting and helping firefighters all at the same time. Also pushing smoke and ash our way. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen is tracking your conditions. Haley, temperatures, moisture levels, winds, they are all critical, and they're kind of like a big formula when it comes to this firefighting effort.
Absolutely, and the downfall is, even though we are dealing with very calm conditions down here on the valley floor, even the Idyllwild station reporting just 3 miles per hour, we are still dealing with a very concerning situation because of a fire of that size. It can then begin to create its own weather patterns, and many of you began to see a part of that weather pattern earlier on today when you saw that very tall pyrocumulus cloud building that was stretching up to 50,000 feet in the air. And when that happens, it can generate its own wind patterns, its own weather patterns. And so much else of what's happening around it isn't so much affecting it, but otherwise, yeah, our winds are nice and light. Generally speaking, there is mainly a westerly flow coming through, although it's a little bit more variable in the mountains. And that's why we're seeing a lot more of that smoke drift our direction and continuing up into the high desert. That will continue into tomorrow as well. So expect a smoky start. We also have that reduced air quality with the smoke advisory in effect, but we're also still dealing with extremely warm temperatures. Triple digits still being felt for many cities right here in the valley, on the valley floor. 80 degrees right now in Idyllwild, and if you recall yesterday, Idyllwild set a record high temperature coming in at 97. So for the mountains, that is hot, and this extreme heat that we are experiencing will continue now through Friday. An excessive heat warning has been extended. I'll have more on that in my complete First Alert forecast.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Haley. You can see the Cranston fire from right here on the valley floor. This is video outside our studios in Thousand Palms this afternoon. You can see all that smoke coming over the mountain. A smoke advisory now in place. We're also seeing a lot of ash. Some people out there tonight saying they were feeling it.
The air quality wasn't good. We're having a hard time breathing out by the pool.
It's really sad because it's a cute little town and we love it up there. So I hope everybody's okay. Lots of prayers out to everybody.
Along with the heat, people, especially those with health issues, are being advised to stay indoors and take it easy with this smoke advisory in place now through tomorrow at least. Download our KESQ mobile app right now. Become part of the News Channel 3 breaking news experience. You can take video and pictures through our app that instantly come into our newsroom, just like these photos you see right here that we've been getting all day. You can download the app for free anytime in your App Store or Google Play. Keep it right here on KESQ for continuing coverage on the Cranston fire. We will continue to bring you updates throughout this newscast, and we will always have up-to-the-minute information posted online at KESQ.com. A woman forced to evacuate from the fire now staying right here in the Coachella Valley. Next on News Channel 3, reaction from this woman as firefighters continue to battle the flames through the night. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's News Leader. Our Cranston Fire coverage continues right now. News Channel 3 Sports Director Blake Arthur is contributing to our news coverage tonight. He has the story of one woman who will be riding out the Cranston Fire right here safely on the valley floor. Blake.
John, thank you. This Cranston Fire actually hits a little close to home for me. My grandparents are full-time residents in Pine Cove, and after making sure they were safe, I had the chance to sit down with another evacuee earlier tonight who made it from her home in Idyllwild to her home in Palm Desert.
I think people were leaving. They know not to fool with this fire.
That's Becky Andelson. She's one of the many from the Idyllwild area to find safety tonight, evacuating what she says is the worst fire she's seen in her 30 years of having a home on the hill.
The air quality was horrible and it was terrifying. Cars were driving up and down the streets with loudspeakers saying, get out, and the fire was coming over the ridge and it was black, and it was probably the most terrifying fire I'd seen.
Luckily for Andelson, she had her radio, which she says helped provide her with valuable information when other sources could not.
You know, having your amateur radio license is a very good thing, because the landlines went down, then my cell phone stopped operating as I was coming off the mountain too.
Which could have been another problem, but thankfully traffic wasn't bad.
The traffic was moving because as soon as I heard the evacuation order, I left. It would have been much worse on a weekend because the community swells to like 10,000 people.
Andelson referring to the frequent visitors to the area, but there are, of course, regular homeowners like herself, those who have put their heart and soul into their community and its recent revival.
I'm glad to be out of there, but it's just a very sad thing. They've done so many new nice things up there in Idyllwild, and it was growing in a community center and a center of Idyllwild, the park that was just put in, and it's really it really shook me up.
Man, glad she is safe. Andelson says this is just another reminder of how important it is to be part of CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. We'll have the latest on the Cranston Fire, including containment and road closures, right after the break.
Actually, I'll take it from here, but thank you, Blake, and hopefully we'll get you back on sports tomorrow, that this firefight will go very well and it won't continue to be this way with this continuing coverage on this. We are continuing to stay on top of the latest developments on the Cranston Fire. Next on News Channel 3, we will check back in with our reporters in the field with up-to-the-minute details.
And coming up in my complete first alert forecast, we'll also be touching base on that smoke advisory that is in effect for the Coachella Valley. Once again, you step outside, you can feel it in the air, you can smell it even at times, and earlier on there was even ash falling even here in Thousand Palms at the KESQ studio. We also have that excessive heat warning that has been extended. I'm tackling it all coming up next. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Evacuation orders remain in effect tonight for Idyllwild, Pine Cove, and Fern Valley. News Channel 3's Cody Krupp in Idyllwild with our live mobile newsroom with up-to-the-minute details on those evacuations as this fire continues to burn tonight. 4,700 acres at 5% containment. Cody.
Yeah, thank you, John. We actually just had a lady walk up to us and ask which specific spots are being evacuated. So that information, it isn't everywhere quite yet. We just saw Animal Services. They drove a truck up the hill right here. They were bringing up, probably, I assume, bringing down some animals, some houses that have not been evacuated.
Make the turn.
But in this area right here in Idyllwild, it actually isn't so bad right now. The wind is calm. We have no smelling of fire. So that is a good sign so far. And I think the officials, this is probably the one area they're not as worried about as some of the others. That wind, if it stays where it is going to be at least away from the city, which, of course, the city of Idyllwild, the last fire 5 years ago, they had the benefit that they were able to completely avoid at least the center of the fire, the main damage of it. So these people in Idyllwild, they're still here. Some of them are still here. We talked to a lady who's taking care of her place. She doesn't want it to go. This is something she's built from the ground up. another guy walking his dog. So there are still some people here in downtown Idyllwild. A kind of calm, cool night, but the wind, that is the main thing. They need the wind to stay exactly how it is right now. So it does that whatever's going on over there does not make its way over here, but so far so good, especially compared to earlier when over 500 people were at the Banning High School Evacuation Center. So good sign so far here tonight. We're reaching the 11:30 hour here in downtown Idyllwild. So reporting here, downtown Idyllwild, Cody Krupp, News Channel 3.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen.
There are a lot of positives with our weather conditions in response to this fire. We are dealing with an increase in humidity. That is good news. We are also dealing with calm winds out there. That is also good news. However, when we have a fire as big as the Cranston Fire, it's actually beginning to create its own weather patterns. You began to see a little bit of this earlier on today. If you had looked towards the mountain, you saw that very large towering cloud. That was a pyrocumulus cloud. And it was actually reaching about 50,000 feet up in the air, and it can be creating its own weather patterns, its own wind patterns. So regardless of what is happening elsewhere, it's still influencing itself, and it can help itself spread. But right now we're looking at those dew point temperatures near 60 degrees. Yeah, it hasn't been very dry in this nice little dry out we've been experiencing, and our temperatures are still a lot hotter than what we would like. Thermal for the third day in a row coming in with a record high temperature 119, surpassing the previous record of 115 set in 2000. Palm Springs today, a high of 116. So because of those cooler temperatures slightly today compared towards yesterday, we can thank that increase in humidity, and we can also thank those clouds that were building over the mountains, providing a little bit of cover, especially over the west end of the Coachella Valley. But we are maintaining extremely hot conditions because of this ridge of high pressure. This is not going anywhere. Because it's not going anywhere, our temperatures are going to be very hot throughout this entire week. An excessive heat warning that went into effect Monday morning has been extended, now not scheduled to expire until Friday at midnight for the Coachella Valley. Areas just west of us around the Inland Empire looking to expire tomorrow, but for the mountains, the Coachella Valley, as well as the high desert, this is following us into Friday. We are not going to be getting any relief from these temperatures, so plan accordingly. We are going to be hanging out in the 1-teens and still dealing with reduced air quality. Because of the Cranston Fire, the South Coast Air Quality Management District has issued a smoke advisory for many areas, including the Coachella Valley. Now, right now, this smoke advisory just through tomorrow morning, but this is going to have to be reassessed tomorrow morning, depending on what that fire does overnight tonight. So for tomorrow morning, expect it to be very warm, near 90 degrees, and also smoky out there with our sunrise time at 5:54. Temperatures are hot through Friday. We begin to cool down for the weekend, but then we have the better chance for scattered showers and storms across the region. Leading up to that day, though, each afternoon, our mountains continue the chance for isolated storms. John.
Okay, thank you, Haley. We are staying on top of the Cranston Fire tonight. Containment now at 5%, 4,700 acres burned. The first sign of progress tonight, that 5% containment, but still a long firefight ahead. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. We are continuing to stay on top of breaking news. The Cranston Fire burning in our local mountains tonight. Let's check back in with News Channel 3's Jake Ingrassia live in Anza, not far from the fire lines. Jake.
Hey there, John. Yeah, just a very, very explosive fire that we saw today. You know, starting in just a couple of acres and rapidly growing to hundreds and then thousands of acres, throughout the mountains today. Those those flames creeping up on our live shot. You know, we actually had to move locations a couple of times. Now, more than 700 firefighters are battling this blaze from the air and the ground. We had 71 engines, 5 tankers, 7 helicopters, and 9 fixed-wing planes up in the air, dropping fire retardant and water onto the fire. And evacuations remain in effect for areas southeast of Highway 243 tonight. Now, we spoke with some residents in the area who are affected by the fire, reacting to the news that a suspected arsonist is now in custody. That suspect, Brandon McGlover, now in custody, as I just said, in connection with the Cranston Fire, is being held on $1 million bail tonight. And as we heard today from several residents, they are not happy with that man. All of this could have potentially been avoided, and you know, his actions potentially costing thousands and thousands of acres. Back to you guys.
Okay, we're going to stay on top of it. Thank you, Jake. A man hospitalized after a shooting in Palm Springs last night. The new information we have about that shooting that we brought you live breaking news coverage on last night. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. We're learning more tonight about a car-to-car shooting in Palm Springs last night. Police say one person was shot around 10:30 last night on Ramon Road between Gene Autry Trail and Paseo Dorotea. We don't know how severe the victim's injuries are, but we're told they're in stable condition tonight. That person, there's no suspect description or motive determined at this point. If you have any information, you are urged to call the Palm Springs Police Department. Sheriff's deputies say a raid at a home in Thousand Palms has led to the arrest of several wanted suspects, including one man wanted for assaulting an officer. 32-year-old Stephen Flores of Cathedral City was arrested last night. Deputies say he was wanted for assaulting an officer last Thursday with a deadly weapon. He's now being held on $100,000 bail. At the same location, deputies arrested Richard Langarcia, Adrian Lopez, and Myra Segala. They were arrested on suspicion of probation and or parole violations. A final recap on the Cranston Fire burning in our local mountains up next on News Channel 3. We'll break down containment efforts, evacuations, and the man in custody accused of starting this fire. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. We are continuing to follow up-to-the-minute details on the Cranston Fire burning in Idyllwild. The fire now stands at 4,700 acres burned. 5% containment has been reached. 32-year-old Brandon McGlover, seen here, is in police custody tonight, accused of starting the Cranston Fire. McGlover was taken into custody right after the fire started. Within about a half hour, he was booked into the county jail in Murrieta on 5 counts. Evacuations orders, we were just learning about this. Full effect for all of Idyllwild. Pine Cove evacuation orders have just been lifted. Fern Valley, I believe, remains in place. Road closures include State Highway 74 between the Cranston Fire and Lake Hemet, as well as Highway 243 between the communities of Pine Cove and Mountain Center. Stay with News Channel 3 tomorrow morning beginning at 5 a.m. for complete coverage on the Cranston Fire, continuing team coverage. Also, we understand there will be a news conference scheduled right now for 10 tomorrow morning. So keep it right here on News Channel 3 for continuing coverage on the air and online at KESQ.com. Of course, weather will play a big role tomorrow, as it already has today and into tonight on this firefight.
Yeah, thankfully we are not dealing with gusty winds down here. However, that fire itself, because it is so large, can create its own wind patterns. But Jerry Steffen will have the latest on the conditions in the mountains tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
Okay, keep it right here on News Channel 3. And as I said earlier, online at KSQ.com overnight for any breaking developments before News Channel 3 in the morning begins at 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live up next. Have a great night and stay safe out there.